Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be talking about activities in Vinea Nova. To access activities in Vinea Nova, we go to the side menu and we scroll down until we find the little clip option, which has two sub-options. One's activities, the other's are plans. We're going to click on activities now. And when we do that, we'll see a list of activities that have been loaded for demonstration purposes. By way of an explanation of what an activity is something that gets done in the vineyard at a location and involves resources such as workers, machinery, consumables. We're going to pick one activity on this list, and it's down here, it's called Bud Rub C, and we can also type in on the search screen the name of it, and when we do that, we can see that anything starting with the word bud appears. We're going to pick Bud Rub C. And straight away, we can see a number of things: a photograph, an image of what bud rubbing involves. We can see its description here, bud rubbing piecework. We can see a little star there, which means it's something I can favorite if I have a particular activity that I want to track in some way. Then we can see some descriptive information at the top. In this case, this is canopy management, and it's subgrouped under bud rubbing. It's plannable. The resource unit type is worker, and the resource type is labour. The work is undertaken by vine, and the cost is defined in cents, so that would be cents per vine, and the duration is recorded as hourly. Now, what that means is that we're recording work at cents per vine, and we're tracking that in vines per hour. I can update these details by clicking on the Manage button here, and this gives me the same information we've just seen, and I can add more descriptive information or change details about it. I can also select a color. We'll talk about how colors come into play later on, but I might just change that color to a pink color. And I'm going to close that. And now here we see default rates in the bottom of the screen. What the default rates define is some rules around what can be charged out and what is expected that workers are going to be paid for each unit that they process. It's not required to load default rates. They can be loaded at job level, but it is very useful to do so. And also, and more particularly, it's useful to load what we call target velocities. So that is to say that if we're loading a rate at which workers will be paid for each vine, we want to have some indication ourselves of how fast we'd expect them to be doing whatever they're doing. And in this case, we're saying we're targeting 685 vines per hour for this rate here. We can also see that there's a start and an end date. So what's happened here, there's been a revision of our estimates. And in this case, we're saying there's 680 vines per hour, we think now. And we also see that we've got a new charge out cost and a base cost, which is what we pay the workers. Again, costs can be loaded at job level as well. If we click on references, we can see that we have in here, we've set up in here an account code, which is something that the finance system would need for each line item that's being billed out so that it can be correctly coded when it's invoiced. And then a payroll code, which is something the payroll system will use for grouping the work that's undertaken. The next thing I want to just point out here is notes, and this is a very useful area, notes and documents. And if I click on one of these notes here, the SOP Bud Rubbing 1.2, and I can see that we've defined that as a standard operating procedure updated June 2003. It's got a keyword standard operating procedure, and there's a bunch of keywords I can select, and I can define new keywords for myself. And then I can click on the little eyeball here in the linked documents, and we can see that opening up in here is actually a document which has got the standard operating procedure for this activity. Just click anywhere out of there, and I'll close that. We also see, if I click on the photo, that I have loaded a photograph of what the bud rubbing activity looks like. I'll just close this. And finally, if I look at the last note, I've added a video URL, which is a video instruction on how bud rubbing should be undertaken. This is a quick overview of what activities are and how we set them up. And as you'll look through other videos in this series, you'll find out how they're used in various ways. Thank you for listening.